In an era where streaming dominates our culture, where Monday mornings are all about the latest plot twists, and binge watching is a weekend ritual, there's a huge group of people who just don't watch TV series. Not because they don't have time or can't afford it, but because they have zero interest in following stories that stretch across multiple seasons. They don't know who won the Game of Thrones, they haven't binged Stranger Things, and they feel absolutely nothing when someone says, "You asterisk have asterisk to watch this show." If you're watching this, you're either one of these people feeling deeply understood, or you're completely baffled by how anyone could resist this cultural phenomenon. But here is what most people miss. Individuals who do and watch TV series aren't just busy or trying to be different. They often have a specific psychological profile that reveals how their minds process stories, time, and emotional investment in fundamentally different ways. Stay with me because what I'm about to unpack will completely change how you see these individuals. And you might even discover some uncomfortable truths about your own viewing habits. Let me ask you something provocative. How much of your life are you spending living through fictional characters instead of creating your own compelling story? These questions are at the heart of understanding the psychology of the TV series avoider. First, we need to grasp the enormous cultural pressure to watch TV shows. They've become a form of social currency. If you haven't seen the show everyone's talking about, you're not just missing entertainment. You're left out of conversations, you don't get the memes, you can't join the collective experience. The question, "Have you seen this show?" is as common as "How are you?" And answering, "I don't watch series" is met with everything from disbelief to pity. The streaming revolution has made this pressure even more intense. With platforms dropping hundreds of new series every year, each marketed as the next big thing you asterisk cannot asterisk miss, the expectation to stay current is sky high. Society has normalized dedicating 10 hours to binge a season over a weekend, seeing it as a sign of being culturally engaged. But here's where it gets fascinating. People who don't watch TV series are hyper-aware of this pressure. They know what they're missing socially, and they make a deliberate choice that the social cost is worth paying. This is an active resistance driven by 5 specific psychological traits. First, narrative autonomy and control. These individuals have a powerful need for control over the stories they consume. They resist being locked into narratives that unfold on someone else's timeline. Think about it. A series requires you to commit to a story doled out in fixed chunks, with cliffhangers designed to manipulate your emotions and keep you coming back. You have no control over the pacing, and you're forced to wait for answers. For people high in narrative autonomy, this feels psychologically invasive. They see serialized storytelling as manipulation, not entertainment. They recognize how cliffhangers exploit the Zeigarnik effect, that psychological itch where uncompleted tasks create a mental tension that demands to be resolved. Instead of giving in, they opt out. They prefer self-contained narratives like films or books they can experience at their own pace. Second, time sovereignty and opportunity cost awareness. People who don't watch series have an unusual awareness of how they spend their time. They look at a show that requires 60 or 80 hours and immediately calculate the alternatives. In that time, they could read 8 books, learn a new skill, create something, or deepen real relationships. This isn't about being a productivity fanatic. It's a gut-level awareness that time is finite. Behavioral economists call this opportunity cost, what you give up when you make a choice. Most of us underestimate this with entertainment, but people who avoid series see these costs clearly. They mentally run the simulation. What if I spent those 60 hours differently? For them, the entertainment value usually doesn't stack up. They find greater satisfaction in activities with tangible outcomes and active engagement. Third, resistance to parasocial attachment. The third trait is a strong resistance to forming one-sided emotional connections with fictional characters. Series are engineered to create these powerful parasocial bonds. We worry about characters, celebrate their wins, and mourn their losses. But for some, this feels like a misallocation of emotional energy. They recognize that the emotions are real, genuine care and concern, but they redirect it at entities that do and exist and can't reciprocate. They'd rather invest that emotional energy in actual people, where it creates real connection. This isn't about being cold. It's about having clear boundaries. They've concluded that if they're going to feel strong emotions, they prefer them to be about real stakes in real lives. Fourth, a preference for active engagement. This trait is a strong preference for active cognitive engagement over passive consumption. Watching a series is fundamentally passive. You sit, watch, and absorb. For many, this is the whole point, a way to switch off. But people who don't watch series often find this passivity mentally uncomfortable. Their minds crave active engagement like creation, problem-solving, or direct interaction. Sitting still and absorbing content for hours feels stagnant. Their idea of relaxation looks different. Reading a book, having a deep conversation, creating art, or playing a strategic game. Neuroscience shows that passive viewing and active engagement recruit fundamentally different parts of the brain. For some people, passive reception is just understimulating, no matter how entertaining the content is. Their brain is saying, I don't just want to watch a story, I want to participate in creating reality. Fifth, the need for narrative completion. The final trait is an intense need for a story to be finished, combined with anxiety around ongoing serialized commitments. These individuals avoid series not because they don't care about the ending, but because they care *2* intensely. Starting a series opens a narrative loop in their mind that screams for closure. Having multiple open loops creates real psychological distress. They feel compelled to finish a series even if they stop enjoying it, just to resolve that cognitive tension. The alternative, stopping midway, means the unresolved plot will keep popping into their head, creating a low-level background anxiety. So the best solution is to never start in the first place. When you combine these 5 traits, narrative autonomy, time sovereignty, resistance to parasocial attachment, a preference for active engagement, and the need for narrative completion, you get a psychological profile that represents a fundamentally different relationship with how attention, emotion, and time should be spent. These people aren't too busy or snobby. They're operating from a completely different set of values. This reveals a tension that exists in all of us. We all have limited time. We all choose how to invest our attention and emotions. People who watch series find real value, community, and enjoyment in them, and that justifies the investment. People who don't watch series resolve this tension differently, prioritizing autonomy, active engagement, and what they could be doing instead. Neither choice is better. Both involve trade-offs. Series watchers gain shared cultural experiences and the pleasure of creative storytelling. Non-watchers gain more time for direct participation in their own lives, skill development, and freedom from narrative anxiety. So, what does this mean for you? If you love watching series, hopefully this creates compassion for those who don't. They're not judging you. They're just wired differently. The kindest thing you can do is respect their choice without pressure. And if you're someone who doesn't watch series, I hope this gives you the language to articulate something you've felt for a long time. Your resistance isn't weird. It's rooted in psychological traits that are strengths: respect for your time, protection for your emotional energy, and a desire for active participation in your own life. You're not missing out. You're living differently, more directly on your own terms. The profound truth is we're all making choices about how to spend the roughly 4,000 weeks of an average human lifespan. The tragedy isn't in watching or not watching. The tragedy is doing either unconsciously, without asking if that choice aligns with your authentic values and your vision of a well-lived life. Now I want to hear from you. Do you watch TV series regularly, occasionally, or never? And more importantly, have you ever examined why? Is it a conscious choice or an unconscious habit? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. I read everyone, and I'm fascinated by the different ways we all construct meaningful lives. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button. It helps this content reach others who are trying to understand the hidden psychology behind everyday choices. And if you want to keep exploring the fascinating psychology behind why people do what they do, subscribe to this channel right now and hit the notification bell. Next week, we're diving into the psychology of people who never take selfies, and it has nothing to do with being camera shy. The insights will completely shift how you see social media. Thank you for watching. And whether you're about to start the next episode or do literally anything else, I hope you're making a choice that feels authentic to who you actually are. That's the only story worth following.